All bets are off! 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 All bets are off!
Hello and welcome to Cinematrophy. I'm Don Perignon, saving you from getting ripped off. Do you remember Spawn? You don't? Well, here's a quick history lesson. Back in the early 90s, the comic book company hit a boom period. You see, people started realizing that comic books were actually worth money. This was due mostly to the going price for the sale of Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman, and Amazing Fantasy #15, the first appearance of Spider-Man. Because of this, many comic book companies, particularly Marvel and DC, started being run by their marketing division, or as I like to call them, the fuck-up squad. So what was the fuck-up squad's contribution to the industry? Why, flooding the market with comics, naturally, particularly first issues, making just about every comic made in the 90s completely worthless. Not liking the direction that the company was headed, several artists from Marvel decided to branch out and create their own comic company called Image Comics. The company got off to a great start with its flagship comic of what? Oh hell no, that was not but fancy colored toilet paper. I'm talking about Spawn. Around the same time, Sony was making its mark in electronics with the introduction of the PlayStation. And in 1995, they negotiated with Spawn creator Todd McFarlane for video game licensing. Now, how is it possible to screw up combining the most dominant comic book character and the most dominant video game system of the era? You're about to find out. This game is so bad, it already made me shit my pants. Oh wait, no, that's just another shitty game. Why do you keep tormenting me? So the game starts out decent enough. I mean, those graphics aren't too bad there, you know. Fire is a cool effect. I'm assuming this is hell. That must be, I don't know, a Devil's Castle, I guess. Graphics are okay, but you know, they're still good back in the time. The music isn't that bad. Actually, the music kind of kick ass. I can see Spawn right there, so, you know, it's pretty cool. Hell, even the title sequence, the way they have the chain coming around the Spawn name and going into the Eternal thing was actually cool. I was even impressed with the loading sequence and the flashing eyes. Then the game loaded. What the fuck? This is literally how the game starts. They just drop you in the middle of nowhere. No cutscene, no explanation, no direction. So the first thing you probably noticed is Spawn looks like shit. His body is all disproportioned for some unknown reason. You'd think the game designer was Rob Liefeld. And where the fuck is his cape? Wait, his cape comes on when he goes into battle mode? Well, that doesn't make any sense. In the comic, his cape didn't show up just whenever he had to fight. He wore it all the damn time. Did they not have enough coding to have him wear the cape continuously? If that's the case, then why bother giving him a cape at all? That's like if you're playing a Ninja Turtles game where you play as regular turtles for 90% of the game and only turn into Ninja Turtles when the fucking foot show up. Yeah, pretty fucking stupid. When you're into battle mode, it turns into a fighting game, which kind of reminds me of Virtual Fighter. Which is okay, except my copy didn't come with the instruction booklet, so when I first started playing, I didn't know any of the fucking moves. All I can do was punch and kick, which don't do jack shit, since everyone is just as strong as Spawn. Seriously, Spawn is supposed to be a badass. I shouldn't be getting my ass kicked by Mr. Tatagi from Die Hard or one of the background dancers from Michael Jackson's Beat It. This means I need the instruction booklet. I did see people selling it online, but they all wanted too much. There is a tip line on the disc itself, but even if it did work, I wasn't calling that shit. Here's a tip. Trade this shit in for a good fucking game. So after an hour of searching online, I finally found a site that told me how to do the moves, which was a complete waste of time because the moves barely ever want to fucking work. But we'll talk about that more later. So you start the game off in New York City, I assume, since that's where the comic takes place. And isn't this a great representation of New York City? As an avid New Yorker, I can't tell you how many times I looked up and saw a puke-colored, smog-infested sky. Oh wait, yes I can. Fucking never! Was it really so difficult to put black up there with a couple of white spots to represent stars? Instead of wasting coding on that piece of shit Sky, maybe they should have used it for something more productive, like giving Spawn his fucking cape. The background textures in this game are awful. They're not as bad as Spec Ops, but they're literally 3 colors away from being that bad. The controls in this game are horrendous. When I first played, I thought you couldn't run diagonally even though you can. The problem is it takes a full 2.5 seconds for it to register, so when you first push the buttons diagonally, he just stands there and you think it's not working. That's not even half as bad as the button control. In most normal games, the jump button is the circle button or the X button. Why? Because it's the most natural position to move your thumb. But no, they decided to make this game as difficult as possible by making the jump button triangle. This may seem like a petty complaint until you have to make a quick jump and keep pushing the wrong fucking button. Why would you put the jump button so far away? What were they thinking? The camera is your worst enemy in this game. Whenever you turn right or left, you have to take a 5-foot step for the camera to change positions. You know how many times I came to an intersection and had to take a 5-foot step just to find out I was facing a dead end? Or have to make a jump and slip off trying to angle the camera? You can imagine my frustration. The music is bad too. The walking around music is supposed to sound eerie, mysterious, and scary, but it just sounds lazy. The fighting music is so similar that at first I thought they were just recycling the same fight theme over and over again.
It's kind of like having tinnitus that constantly changes its pitch. In the end, you still have something you wish didn't exist.
If I wanted to hear a bunch of songs that sound the same, I just throw on a nerd CD, thank you very much. There's a counter in the lower right hand corner representing Spawn's magic. You can use it to heal yourself or throw green plasma balls at your enemy. Once it hits 0, like in the comics, Spawn dies and the game is over. Throughout the game you collect spears that represent different magic Spawn can use without using his magic counter. The green is for health, the red for fireballs, blue for ice balls, and so on and so on. Now remember when I said I wasted my time looking up those movesets? This is why. This is what those spears are for. And 90% of the time, they don't want to come out. And when they do come out, they take so long, the enemy is most likely to kick you in the face, interrupting it or ducking it. Not to mention, there's no difference between the magic. The fireball doesn't burn anyone, the freeze ball doesn't freeze anyone, and they all seem to do the same amount of damage. The only thing worth getting is the Hell Gauntlet, which makes you invincible for a short amount of time, and even that doesn't want to activate most of the time. What a fucking joke. The first boss you run into is Overkill, who I found easier to beat than all the guys I fought to get up to this point. Are you fucking kidding me? After running through the sewer for a bit, you face Overkill again as a mini-boss, who is twice as hard this time as he was the last time, even though Spawn never gets any stronger.
Because that's how progression works, right? I'm sure when the store manager gets demoted to floor supervisor, it's only natural for him to get a pay raise.
After defeating Overkill, you have to fight whoever the fuck this guy is, and after you beat him, you teleport to the 14th Street train station. I only know it's 14th Street because it says so right there on the wall. Although I have to admit, I don't remember the ticket booths ever looking like that. Maybe Spawn traveled back in time to the 1920s. It's here you fight one of Spawn's most popular villains, Violator. At least I think that's Violator. It's hard to tell since there's a whole group of them that look almost identical.
You know, I can't help but wonder about Todd McFarlane's creativity, considering that most of Spawn's earlier villains pretty much look the same.
There's Violator, Vindicator, Vaccinator, Fornicator, Dictator, Devastator. No, wait, that's a Transformer. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, come on, it's not hard to make 20 million characters when all you do is change their names. Hell, Rob Liefeld made a career out of it.
Once you beat Violator, we get our first cutscene.
You are the last man. The souls of your victims
biscuits for the ranks of man. You have proven to be a most valuable soul.
Again. What the fuck? First of all, I can barely understand what Malbolgia, the one who created Spawn, is saying. And the only reason I know it's Malbolgia and he created Spawn is because I read the comics. If you're gonna make a cutscene that doesn't tell you anything, at least make it exciting like Ninja Gaiden's, and even that cutscene gave you something to go on. Thus far, this game has given players two things: Jack and shit. After the cutscene, you're in this castle where they were nice enough to turn the sky to red. Maybe you're in hell? I don't know, they don't tell you shit in this game. After going through an energy warp, you get to play as medieval Spawn, who looks worse than the regular Spawn. God, he looks like he's wearing a cheap paper mask that you get off the back of a cereal box. On this stage, you get to fight squires, knights, medieval centaurans, and a naked Master Splinter? What the fuck is this thing? You can save the game at any time, but when you die, as if it's a penalty for that, you only get two options: load and restart. Was it too hard to make that restarter continue so I wouldn't have to go through my load screen every time I want to restart from the last point I saved? Why the fuck would I even want to restart the board from the beginning? There's no score, so you don't lose any points for continuing. What were they fucking thinking? You would think this was a petty concern until you get to a point like this. I have to make this jump, but I can't see the jump because of this atrocious camera angle. So I have to make a leap of faith, and I die. Then I have to reload, and I have to jump again. Die, reload, jump, die, reload, jump, die, load, jump, die, load, jump, die, load! You spend most of your time going through mazes and collecting keys, which was pretty standard for most games back in that day, like Resident Evil, Parasite Eve, or Dino Crisis. The difference between those games and this one, those games were actually fun! I don't even know why I'm still playing this game. It's not fun, it's not entertaining, I get no sense of enjoyment from it. The only thing this game manages to do is piss me the fuck off!
This game fucking sucks! It's all just a sadistic joke to test a player's patience, time, and mental capacity. Well, fuck this game, fuck Sony, and fuck Spawn. They can all just kiss my ass.
Is it over?
This game fucking sucks! It's all just a sadistic joke